and Cuckoo third in class. But let's not forget the P1s, and it was Chris who came home first for the prototypes, but I believe it was third on the grid. I think outright, Tim, from memory. He was one of the first cars on the podiums for the prototypes, so that was a sensational effort by Christopher Razor last week. Second for Rusty, and then Scar 666 finally on the podium there for the prototype, so that'll do his championship some really good things. So talking about championships, here we go. So Magic Mass with those two first victories that he's had on a lead of 118 over Cuckoo. You'll see those little H's in front of their names. That's the hypercar class, and the red P's are the prototypes. So that victory from Christopher Razor put him back on the top of the prototype class in front of Brett S. And then there's a bit of a gap before we see Adrian. But unfortunately, the talk of town is Adrian is not able to complete the series for the rest of the year. So that is him done and dusted, Tim. So that's a shame.
Actually, just quickly, we have a couple of scratchings tonight on top of that. Just confirming those now. So Gambit will not be in this evening in the Judd. Bentz is in from the Honda, is also out this evening. Trimington is not feeling the best at the moment, so he's pulled from the Chev. And Mac Attack will not be with us this evening.
Okay, so we'll quickly see if we can get through here now. Tim, we've got the target there, so you can see Magic. That's based on the fastest lap of the race for the first three races added together. And you can see that Magic has got about close, just over a second lead over Cuckoo. So we'll see how things go. But talking about getting into this qualifying, Tim, we have got the Red Bull Ring here. 10 turns, 4.3 kilometres in length. What a sensational racetrack here. The big points of interest is obviously turns 3 and 4. We'll see a lot of action usually in those parts of the corners. And the final corner as well, they got to watch track limits through there, as we know, just generally. So let's pick up the action of the guys. They're out on track for the final 3 minutes of qualifying. So if we'll have a look to see at the action here at the moment with Gun 180. And you can see how wet that is, Tim. So if we bring up the map, it might just help us to understand exactly where he is. And it is a private session, Tim. So since you've been gone, there's the ability of all these drivers to have a private session where the other drivers aren't actually on track while they're running. So they don't see them on track. So it's a new feature, Tim. And it's a pretty good thing for league racing. What's your thoughts there, Tim?
Absolutely. It's a very similar profile that was used through iRacing. You get the whole track to yourself for a qualifying, or in this case, the Super Pole. We have the top 6 cars at the moment fighting it out, and this will decide where they start in the grid.
Yeah, so Gun 180 is doing a very good job here in the wet. We have Travis Moan, I think it was the fastest man on the leaderboard during a week. They used time trial to set the grid, and so the top 6 go into this hyper pole. But at the moment, as we can see, Gunner starting his what will probably be his second last lap. He'll get another lap in here if he wishes.
Let's jump on board, see if I can find the cockpit. There we go. And see the vision out of these cars. They were complaining earlier about how useless the windscreen wiper was. This will be quite interesting when they do see other cars on the track, and the spray coming down the hill now into turn 4. Slosh Gold. And everyone's going to carve me up for my pronounce of the Austrian words here. Coming through turns 5 and 6 into Ruch.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to have a go at you, Tim. They are fairly difficult. I think you just put a after it, something like that, and you should be right.
Through turn 9, there's Worth coming down to turn 9, which is right. You see the pit entrance off there as well. And then coming down through turn 10, the Red Bull Mobile last turn. And as you said, that's where the track limits will come into play.
But let's see, it was up in one of his sectors there, but he's obviously just dropped a little bit there. But Magic Mass is almost a second off the pace, so that's the end of Gunner. He is done for the qualifying of the Hyperpole.
So you jump on board at the moment, running around. Oh, that scratched that lap out for Cuckoo. Cuckoo is done. He has locked in his time.
Third position, not too bad. He'll be happy there, but he'll be hoping to keep that position if he can. Tim with John Slow is out on track, probably the last of the drivers. Up in the first sector.
Take a look at how this car is sitting in the weather. The guy said these cars are not too bad in the wet. The amount of downforce helps stick them on the road.
Yeah, how good's this view? You can actually see the headlights also throwing a little bit of light onto the wet track. And definitely a very... Oh, there he goes. Out of turn 3, as we know, is just a troublesome corner.
And Magic Mass still out on track.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on him and see what we've probably just missed the second sector, so he's just coming up to the final 2 corners. So let's see if that'll put him on the pole position. And we'll wait for those results to come up. And no, he hasn't been able to, Tim. He's staying there in second position. And Rusty there in sixth position. So I'll just, we'll bring up the Hyperpole here. And just bear with me while I quickly edit and put the right grid order as we go.
So we're looking for Gunner coming off a P1. And Magic Mass joining the front row. Cuckoo and John Slow on row 2. And row 3, Travis Moan and Rusty Caliper. Row 4, the Bloody Nine and Bales McKenzie. And then we'll have Scar 666 and Lefty. Waiting for Neil just to rack these up so we can see the graphics coming through. We'll roll down through the order here for everyone watching at the moment.
Yeah, we will have also the formation as well, so that'll be all good.
And alongside Christopher Razor will be Esky Man, Dat Boy and Truey, Brett S and Smithy, Rangy Rover, No Frills, Max Power and Pixel Max Power doing a great job coming from 19th, Mark 860 and Kiz, Squish Mittens, and rounding out our top 24 is Stu. As we did mention, there are 4 drivers this evening that aren't able to make it. 24 cars on the grid. And the weather girl has said it will be a wet start. We're looking at quite heavy showers passing through at the moment. There is standing water sitting on the track. It will be a little greasy for the start of this race. And the weather is expected to clear.
Okay, so there you go, guys. As they all roll through on their formation lap, as we can see, we'll just quickly re-go through as we've got the graphics now, as they should be, with Gunner on pole, with Magic in second, Cuckoo in third, fourth is John Slow in the Metallica Ride the Lightning car, fifth is Travis Moan, give it away now, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Rusty Caliper. That has to be updated. He's in the Nickelback car, but it is the Easy Beats car we will see shortly. Seventh, the Bloody Nine. 8th, Mark 860, the working class man. Will hopefully see that his internet and everything will be working for him tonight. He's had a lot of rotten luck round 1 and 3, as we know, been problems for Mark. Dat Boy in 9th position. Rangy Rover in that Nickelback car in 10th position. Christopher Razor in 11th, the man that came on 3rd last week. So he's got a little bit of work to do there on the 6th row. And alongside him will be No Frills. Then on the 7th row, we've got Squish Mittens The all pink livery, and then it's the prodigy of Brett S. And Bent's in 15th. 16th is Smithy. France Ferdinand Bales in 17th, and Stu the Fat Boy Slim Boy in 18th position. And then in 19th will be Pixel Boy. And then we've got 20th will be left. It's a big field here tonight. Kiz in 21st. And then the 9-inch nails of Truey in 22nd place. 23rd is the Razor's Edge of Max Power. Thunderstruck tonight. And Scar 666 in 24th. And then the round out the back of the grid will be Esky Man in 25th. So what a big grid. We've got 25 cars out on track. And let's bring up the graphics now, as you can see. So we have got Cuckoo at the moment just warming up those tyres in his Chevelle number 7 car. And Tim, you would not want to be mid-pack here at the start of this race.
The vision out of these cars for the first couple of laps until they get themselves organised is going to be atrocious, to say the least.
Oh, you're
but
not
that
wrong.
is a step above what the Formula One cars would be, being the Formula One track, the Red Bull Ring. Open pit cars much prefer to be sitting in something that's got a fully enclosed cabin.
Oh, definitely. As they're lining up 2x2, headlights are blazing. I think you brought up the weather comment before, that they're hoping this weather's going to pass. We've got 90 minutes to find that out. But here we go for the start. It's battle resuming, and it looks like at this stage that Magic got the jump on Gunner off the line here.
Guys will have to be patient here coming in through turn 1.
Yeah, they're getting through. They got to get up, get that power on too, Tim. That's a hard thing with these wet conditions. Oh, little argy-bargy coming up to the run-up into turn 2. Side by side with Rusty.
You can see a few of the cars there did actually have the DRS engaged up through there. Very tricky in the wet weather.
Yeah, so Rusty's just getting a little bit roughed up by the regulars. So Rusty, we know that he has got a lot of pace, and he's in that Easy Beats car. Now, Tim, what's a good hit from the Easy Beats, mate?
I think Friday on my mind, my friend.
That's one of the big ones, isn't it? So obviously he's got Monday here to get through tonight. And France Ferdinand of Bales. This is my fan favourite car with the arrows pointing forward, Tim. That's exactly the right way he's going tonight, and he wants to keep it that way.
And he's also got the Arse logo on there as well, the guys that run on Friday nights for AMS2.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on for AMS2 at this stage with the new updates, and Arse are one that they love to run on every fortnight. I think it is every Friday, Tim, if my memory is correct.
For anyone who's joining us, this is Auto Boys. So a couple of guys shoot off the back there through turn 9 through right. I don't think you want to be right out there.
No, I think that might have been Smithy actually. Oh, and there's a car looped around the final corner, and I think that just may be Stu, and I'm not too sure.
Jumping around the cars here to try and find it. It was Stu.
Oh, Stu.
Taking the scenic, and we still have a yellow flag. So all cars are going again. Yeah. Stu on the hunt down for Max Power, running around out the back there, playing it safe.
Yeah, you think that he should have been really into the this sort of weather with a Thunderstruck car, the AC/DC Razor's Edge livery. He could be chasing a mistress for Christmas, I'd say, as well. So here we go, and look at the signatures all there of the band. That's a great little graphic there, Tim. Good zooming in.
Guys are all spread out here. We'll jump up to the front though. It's getting a little bit tight for Magic Mass and Gun. So Magic Mass holding the lead at the moment, but Gunner's not going to be comfortable playing second fiddle here. He'll certainly want to try and get some clean air and out of that spray.
Yeah, 100%. It's not the greatest thing, but at least he's only got the one car to contend with a spray, but he'll be making sure that he becomes a bit of a nuisance to Magic.
Let's jump back. I've seen Smithy slide off the back of turn 6 at the moment, so he's dropped right back. He'll have a bit of a contention with Pixel Boy.
Yeah, they'll have a good little battle, but Pixel Boy should have a little bit of pace here, but Spiffy's been really, really fast. Oh, a little bit of a touch there on side by side between him and Pixel, but getting through okay.
A little bit of paint off the side of the car, but everything okay. Another exciting battle going on at the moment. Looks to be No Frills and the Bloody Nine. Look at that spray. That is horrendous up through there with all those cars.
Yeah, so No Frills in the top 10. He'd be happy with that at the moment. And just in front of him is the Bloody Nine. And Bloody Nine looks like he's starting to put a little bit of pressure as well on Christopher. And a good showing from Mark 860 just in front of all this lot as well. So he's leading the train. And this just sort of shows that Mark 3 cars in front of No Frills. And he's doing it for all the Aussie working class men of the Jimmy Barnes livery in position 7.
Now, I did sneak on yesterday for a quick test drive of these cars to fully understand what the guys were going to be facing this evening. The most interesting thing I found out was the style of driving required for these cars. Neil, it's not what I expected.
Yeah, so the car's just gone disappearing on us, so we've got a disappearing act.
Christopher Razor looks like he may have been a disconnection.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I've seen a couple of drivers moving around a bit, but it looks like the Bloody Nine is really feeling the heat now with No Frill, so that's unfortunate for Christopher, the man that is leading Tim, the P1 class. So big change in the championship fortunes for Christopher, unfortunately.
We sit on the top of No Frills here, looking at the Bloody Nine and Mark 860 up in the front. The interesting thing I found with these cars, Neil, patience is the key. They want to turn in really sharply. They're very good on turn in, but there's that almost turbo lag understeer coming through into the mid-corner apex, and you have to be very patient with the cars. You can't put any you can't touch the accelerator, you can't do much work with the brake. You've just got to get the cars settled and turned in. Once you get past that apex though, it is heavy pedal on the metal, back on the gas to get the cars turned out of the exit on the corner. Very challenging cars to drive, but a lot of pleasure when you get it right.
Yeah, good insights there for these drivers, and obviously being on a slippery track. I just noticed when they came out of turn 4 earlier on this lap, there was a lot of standing water there, Tim, on the inside, so they'll be making sure that they don't try and keep him towards the curb while this wet weather's still about. But is it the rain's still falling? I'm not too sure. It might be only just a light sort of sprinkle, because it looks like it's starting to clear up there on this view, Tim. So
yeah, the sky is looking better in the background, so we are, and the weather report was expecting the rain to cease within the first 20 minutes of the race, and then they would expect that the track would dry out. The last half an hour of this race should be on a dry track.
yeah, lovely. Well, that's going to be an interesting ×2 tyre wear as well. So these wet tyres will start getting the punishing pretty quickly, but if it does start getting a dry line, Tim, so the drivers will want to be getting off these wets fairly quickly, I would say, when it starts getting a little bit dry. Just have a look when they come out of this corner here, Tim, and down on the inside, the pooling of water just there. So that was where I think we saw Smithy and a few others spin out earlier, getting caught out with that standing water, I'd say.
And again, coming here through turns 6, very sketchy through there. There looks to be some standing water on the outside near the ex-rifle strip. That could be bringing a few of the cars undone through there as well. And there's a few other battles going on around at the moment. Let's jump back and take a look at Scar 666 sitting off the back of Kiz at the moment.
Yeah, you may just want to go either trackside, Tim, or on the roof or something like that, and we'll see how we go there. And oh, these cars absolutely sound sensational. It's Scar was finished third. I think we mentioned there in the P1s at Silverstone in class in these prototypes. Currently down the order a little bit.
Let's jump in the cockpit. Neil said the guys were complaining about how the windscreen wipers were almost worthless in this spray.
Yeah, I think what they're getting at, Tim, you can sort of see, and the viewers can actually see that as well. The wiper array is only really showing you just right in front, and then off to the sides is the water just seems to bead up still on the windscreen. So,
and big mover on the inside there. Can he hold it down through turns 3? Yes, he can.
Yeah, nice move by Scar. So we were right in the cockpit of Scar. He made that move, and now we're on top of, just trailing behind Kiz. And we may try and see if we can change that view again. Look at, or you can actually start to see as they go through turn 3, Tim, that there seems to be a little bit of the drier lines, or the water starting to dissipate on the line through that part of the corner, but it's definitely very, very wet still on this track surface here in Austria. At Spielburg, known as the Red Bull Ring, I think there's a big statue of a bull somewhere on the circuit here, Tim, as well, up on the hill.
Yes, it became the Red Bull Ring in 2011. A little bit of interesting facts for you, but we've seen Magic Mass has had a bit of an issue. He has now dropped back with Gunn now leading this race. He's got a full 7 seconds over Magic Mass. He's now fallen back into the clutches of Travis Moan. So we'll jump ahead and take a quick look at that race. So we'll give you a bit of a history. So the track was originally constructed in 1969. It was referred to as the Osterreich Ring, or the Austrian Circuit. And it held the Formula One Grand Prix from 1970 through to 1987. And then in 1995, the track was shortened to become the A1 Ring. And it serviced between 1997 and 2003. The track was then to go through a further renovation, which the developers ran out of money, and the track was purchased by Red Bull in 2010, and they completed the renovations to the current circuit that has run in this format since 2011, referred to as the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, great history there, Tim. I did not even know that the developers actually ran out of money and the sports energy drink of Red Bull actually purchased this. But just as we were talking about that, you saw Magic Mass struggling to get the car turned around into turn 3. I think it was actually turn 5, sorry. Ran wide, but here we got a move on Travis Moan looking down the inside. And this is a hot part of the circuit, turn 2 and into turn 3 is that's exactly what you're saying, Tim. It's very hard, these cars, to get that power on. You can just see Travis had to get out off the power as he tried to
opening the wing up a little bit there too, trying to gain some extra momentum down there. You can see the dry line that Neil was talking about earlier coming into there. The skies are certainly clearing up in the background, and the high downforce of these cars will create, we've seen.
That was the previous corner that I was saying to the previous lap. Actually, Magic Mass running wide through there at turn 5. We may just want to start having a little look at some of these track cams, because it will bring up just to see if we can see the drier line and how much spray is actually starting to come off these tyres. There's a Rangy Rover's actually in a very good spot in 6th position at the moment, as this was the car that Rusty was using last week when Rangy was not able to make the grid at Silverstone, and we know what happened there. He finished in 3rd position, Rusty, so definitely got some pace, and Rangy finding himself in 6th position and not too far away from Cuckoo in 5th. So
I can see a little juicy battle coming just behind this. Eskiman sitting off the back at the moment of No Frills and Mark 860. And there is a gathering of cars here at the moment.
Yeah, this has been going on for some time. Yeah, Christopher, no good. Your net dropped out. Oh, delete did not work for the car. The electronics failed in this wet weather. So, yeah, big championship disappointment for you, buddy. But anyway, we'll see if he can come back. As we know, Gunn missed round 2, Tim, and that's why he's down the order a little bit. But obviously, he's out in front at the moment doing what he needs to do. And Magic Mass, the man that's leading the championship, back in 4th position. Just these wet conditions have been catching Magic out.
You can see the sheen on the circuit there, showing some of the drier line coming through. The high downforce of these cars will quickly dry this track out once this rain does officially stop. You can see the rain now very, very light, but still is falling.
Yes, Christopher's just commenting there, Tim, that yeah, he's really gutted about this. He really wanted to experience this full-on wet race to the dry race conditions, as that's a big challenge. As Cuckoo's into the pit lane now, I wonder if this is for damage or if he's thinking that these wet tyres are going to go off fairly quick with this dry and lie starting to emerge. And will he put some slicks on, Tim? It's a big call.
I think it's a little bit too early for that, but we can see here there is very, very dry track on the high sections at the top through turn 1. You can see the water builds up again as we come back down through the hill here. We should expect to see the track start to dry out coming out of turn 3 here.
Yeah, definitely.
The spray off the cars.
I just think
Still quite moist across the top by the looks of that.
yeah, it could be a bit too early from Cuckoo's call, but obviously this part of the circuit it will benefit because it is got that definite dry line starting to appear. So
that's the run down the hill we can see there is drying out.
Yeah, but while you still got that water spray coming off these tyres, I think it's a little bit too early. Cuckoo may struggle in the initial stages here, but obviously this... Oh, someone's wide out the background there. I think that's Brett
Rusty
S.
Caliper.
Oh, is it Rusty? Yes, it was. It's Rusty in the
Rusty
Easy
Caliper.
Beats in the Honda. So things haven't gone too well as he ran wide, and he's... Could this be because these wets are starting to overheat just a little bit, Tim? I'm really not too sure.
I think the battle at the moment, Rangy over the bloody 9. These guys are running nose to tail at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. They're fighting to find that water, Tim. They're actually moving around the circuit now down the straights to try and pick up the wet part of the circuit to keep these tyres under control.
Bit of action at the back here as well. No Frills Marco at 60. And Esky. Great little battles going on around this track. We'll just jump back down. And sorry, we'll jump on Pixel Board at the moment and see how he's travelling towards the back. Squish Mittens up in front of him is having a good battle at the moment with Truey.
Yeah, down in 21st.
You can see the guys. Squish Mittens looks like he might have got Truey through there. Truey moves out wide in the water line. Squish Mittens on the inside coming into turn 3. That is certainly the preferred location on track here. It's a hard line around the outside. And if you're watching this evening, thank you for joining the stream. You're watching Gravel Track Legends Masters of Endurance. And this is round 4 at Spielburg or the Red Bull Ring, the Austrian Grand Prix track. Either way you want to consider this track, with the track is drying out considerably there through there, Neil. We can see a good shiny dry line appearing.
Yeah, we've got to keep an eye on to see exactly where Cuckoo is as well, because as we said, he did go into the pits early on, and he'd be one of those drivers that were on the slicks.
Let's just take a look at Cuckoo and see how that car is handling, what attitude it's got at the moment.
So he did a 159 the previous lap, so I'm not too sure if that was his out lap. So we'll keep an eye to see what sort of times he's doing now. This would probably be representative of the conditions of the track now, and a lot of the other drivers will really be taking note, as Christopher Reyes is just confirming that was his out in that lap, the 159. So This is his first flying lap, Tim, after being on these slick tyres. So let's see if he's under the 1:30 bracket.
Oh, he's obviously feeling confident. He's got the wing open for the DRS through there, up the start-finish line, into turn 1, at the top of the hill, coming down through turn 2.
See, there's no water spray coming off the tyres here now, so I reckon this lap here that Cuckoo's doing, like you can see a couple of drivers now coming into pit lane. There's a driver definitely coming down through the lane as we speak, and Cuckoo, I think we'll find he'll be in a very low 29 this lap around, if not a 28, so he's definitely going to pick up some positions here.
Be the undercut that will skyrocket him up through the order.
Yeah, Cuckoo's a man that's got a lot of experience in driving these sort of cars, well, a lot of cars here on AMS2, and look, 1.7 seconds faster there in Sector 2 to his previous time, Tim, so this is going to really show that he's going to be pulling out a low 29, 1:29 lap here.
And just for anyone watching at the back, this is a speed times race, so it is a ×3. That's why you're seeing the track dry out faster than you would naturally see on a normal race.
There you go, 3 seconds faster than his best time, Tim, which was in the wet. So 1:28.3.
Christopher Racing's just jumped in and said the wets are treacherous on a dry track, on a dry line.
Yeah, definitely. So
we can see Gunner is proving that at the moment. He has dropped his pace off. He's almost 2 seconds slower than his last lap. Now the track's dried out.
Yeah, so we'll obviously see those drivers probably seeing those times tumbling now, and John Slow's taking the pit lane entry as No Frills follows as well. So it's interesting to see Gunn still out. I think the Gunner will be coming into pit lane this next lap.
Let's sit on the back of Gunn with the chase camera and see the attitude of this car.
But to give it to him, he's still he's still taking out a bit of his time, but I'd say those tyres have seen their better days. And I would imagine that we will see him filtering here onto the right-hand side of this lane, Tim, and into pit lane. There we go.
Right into pit lane. And we'll jump on Travis. Is Travis going to have the same scenario here? You're looking at his tucks right on the inside. No, he stays out this lap.
Oh, I think that Travis has made a mistake there. I think Magic Mass will be one coming into pit lane, and so I think Travis is going to find himself struggling.
Good Magic Mass into the pit lane now. Rangy Rover, the next on order. Rangy, sorry. I got trouble for that last time.
I actually like how you say Rangy. I think that's pretty cool. As
Rangy stays out. He's going to have a run with Travis Moan for this next lap.
I think Rangy's doing a Rangy. So going out too long here, and he's going to pay the price. But look, these drivers are also probably playing off to think, well, we need to get onto those slick tyres and make them last so they don't have to pit again. So some of these drivers are already pitting for the slicks, Tim. There's a possibility.
Here is the story of the day, though. Cuckoo, a 1:25.8.
Yeah, nice. But as these drivers all come through have their pit stop, we should see Cuckoo back up, challenged in the top 10 again. But as I said, this could also be something that we're not thinking about, Tim, as I was sort of alluding to, that these drivers that are on the slicks already, and maybe Christopher can let us know, will these cars get around for 60 minutes on a set of slicks, or will they need to pit again for a new set of tyres? So it could be just the case that they're trying to run this a little bit longer to see if they can not have to pit a second time for another set of slicks.
The other question is, Neil, fuel-wise, ×3, is it ×3 for fuel as well?
I think it's just ×2 for the tyres, I believe.
Okay.
So
the guys were talking about their longevity for fuel. They would have saved a little bit of fuel being in the wet weather. can the guys go a full hour or more on a tank of fuel?
So here we go. So Christopher's saying almost definitely not for a set of tyres, around about 45 minutes. So this is what Travis, Moan, Rangy are all thinking about. Will they extend that out to as long as they can? But we've still got 63 minutes left on the clock, Tim. So no matter what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to pit for another time. So maybe they've made their wrong decision here, Travis and Rangy. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I'm thinking that you're going to have to play the gamble. You can't drive for another 15 minutes on wet tyres. You're probably going to be pushing the fuel window anyway. So everyone's banking on having to do a 3-stopper in this race. Pull the trigger early. Let's see how Cuckoo goes. Where is Cuckoo sitting at the moment? Now 9th on track.
Yeah,
8th on track. 7th on track, sorry.
Yeah, so we're watching Rusty here in pit lane, just doing his thing. So we've got the roll around camera here, guys. As look at the Easy Beats livery. That thanks to Scar 666, not only is he out there racing, he's also in 16th position as well. He's also doing these nice liveries for the drivers as well. So there you go as we pick up on Rusty leaving pit lane.
Also very little tricky, little changing camber that's easy on cold tyres to catch that roll out of on the track and spin the car out. So the guys are doing well to get themselves out of pits on cold tyres. We have a bit of a battle going on behind with Smithy and Scar. So let's jump on board here with Smithy. Looking at the back of Scar at the moment, there's less than half a second between these two cars. The guys have been battling it out for the last 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, so just have a look there, mate. Sorry to cut you off there. Rangy's in pit lane, but he's dropping down that order. He was higher up there, so that staying out on those wets is really costing him.
And Cuckoo now up to 7th position and still a 123 with the Bloody Nine running competitively at the moment. Cuckoo and the Bloody Nine will jump on board there. Both in the 123s, but we can see the cars ahead now on the wet tyres that haven't pitted yet. They're running in the 130s. So Gunner's still managed to maintain his margin. He's got 11-second gap over Magic Mass. John Slow on the hunt now. Needs to find a little bit of pace with the new tyres if he wants to stay in this race, or the Bloody Nine and Cuckoo will run him down.
Yeah, they will, mate. So it's not going to be long, but this is a nice little tasty battle actually between Cuckoo and the Bloody Nine.
And don't count out No Frills and Esky Man just sitting off the back of this pack. Only 10 seconds or so back. Any mistake from these guys and those guys, they will be pounced upon.
Yeah, there will be. I'll just making sure it's not too choppy on the stream there occasionally. On my screen, it's becoming a bit choppy as I'm also negotiating a few other things on the main stream. But 0.7 up there for Cuckoo. So he's into those mid-22s, chasing down the Bloody Nine. And John Slow is within striking distance of Magic Mass, but not quite there on the lap time. So maybe he's just losing touch from Magic in position 3 at this stage.
Cuckoo right up on the back of the Bloody Nine at the moment. Travis Moan still the only car on track, well, one of the few cars left on track that still have to pit.
That's right, and Christopher's just going to go have a bite to eat. Yeah, enjoy your dinner, mate. Hopefully it's a nice big bit of steak or something to try and a bit of comfort food after that disconnect. You need something to cheer you up, buddy, so even a nice juicy hamburger. So yeah, enjoy your dinner, mate, and we'll see you next time around.
And the car's starting to negotiate some back markers through here now. As we can see the blue dots on the track map. Depicting cars that are a lap down.
And just behind Cuckoo, I think, is Squish Mittens, who's the lap car down, I think it was.
Let's take a look, Squish Mittens in the lovely pink livery.
Yeah, the Strawberry Kisses by, what's her name again? I've totally forgotten her already again, but one of the artists. Whoever sang Strawberry Kisses.
It's right on the tip of my tongue, but probably scarred for life by having to listen to that. Oh, a big undercut through there. I think that was not quite intentional.
Yeah, it's Nikki Webster actually, so maybe
That's
Nikki
the one.
Webster's behind the wheel as well, giving those Strawberry Kisses out at the same time. As all the rear ends going around fairly easily on that car, but he's been able to hold on to it.
But a great time to talk about track cuts, Neil. 5 track cuts available for these drivers in the race. After 5 track cuts, they will get a drive-through. Is that correct?
Yeah, they will get a drive-through, and I tell you what, look at all that dust coming out of that car after he's been out into the gravel trap. So under the under tray really caught a lot of that gravel and brought it back on the circuit. The drivers won't be happy about Squish Mittens at the moment.
And Squish Mittens is showing us the evidence of what I was talking about earlier in the performance of these cars. You have to be very patient. The car wants to turn in really sharply, but then it just tends to understeer mid-corner, and you just have to be patient. You can't touch the accelerator. You don't want to do a lot of trail braking through there. You just have to be patient with the car to get it turned through. Once you get on the apex on the other side, you can then mash the accelerator and punch your way out. But a little over eager on the accelerator, I think, there, causing the understeer.
Yeah, he's obviously he's having a little good battle there with Pixel Boy, and seeing if he can try and climb up the order a little bit. Stu up the road by about 15 seconds though, and they're lapping similar times, but I think Squish Mittens just got that little bit more pace in him. If he can just keep that car on the circuit and not push too hard, and that time will come to him.
Take a look at a couple of other battles. We've got Kiz and Rangy going for it still. And we've also got Smithy sitting off the back of Scar 666. Rusty Calipers getting very close to the back of Brett S. And they also got Mark 860 in their sights, so they've been running fairly consistently around this track for a while now too. So again, great battles happening all around this track. Stay with us, we've still got 56 minutes of racing to go. This will come down to the wire. Looks like Travis Moan has either found outstanding pace. Oh no, Travis Moan has done his pit stop. Or he's still risking it. You know, 132. Travis Moan is still running around on wet tyres.
Wow, so he's one that's obviously trying to see if he can only go this as a one-stopper, which is a big ask.
Well, we need to get some data back from Christopher Razor. They can go between 55 and 65 minutes to a tank of fuel. So if Travis runs another 2 or 3 laps, he is going to be able to do this with a one stop.
Well, that'll be fairly good if he can do that, and see if he can, but it's a big ask. I really think it's going to be a big job if he can get that done.
Our timing tables are a little bit out here because it's saying... Yep, there we go. So Magic Mass has just jumped past Travis Moan. We can see Magic Mass up in front of the road there. So he's sitting 10 seconds off the back of the Gun 180 who's leading this race at the moment. John Slow's now found pace in his car, but he has dropped off the back a little bit. Sitting 5 seconds off the back of Magic Mass, you'll want to try and find some margin in here. But running the same lap times as the Bloody Nine and Cuckoo, but he's got a comfortable 15-second margin to the car behind him. He just now needs to hit those apexes and focus on getting the power down on the exit.
Yeah, he's definitely getting that pace in that car now, John Slow, and from what I could see there, he was up on that sector 2, so this could be a very good lap if he doesn't get caught up here. He's would have cost him a little bit in time, but
A little shallow on the turn in there, probably wouldn't have been happy with that, but it should still be a peak lap as we just check. A 122.3, fastest lap we've seen, I believe, at this stage.
just the cars involved from him it is, but up in front they were both on a 21, so the pace is starting to come into the track again as this track starts to grip up after the wet weather has disappeared. And geez, it's a nice day now, Tim, so almost those 4 seasons in one day we've had here at the Austria Ring.
The Metallica storm has cleared, and John Slow is on the hunt now, 13 seconds off the lead car. And have a quick look back through to see Mark 860, Brett S and No Frill still battling it out through here. The guys are all running within about a second of each other down the track.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Brett S definitely in the Prodigy car.
And I think now time to jump on board with Brett S and take us for a lap around, coming into turn 3. Remus for the Red Bull Ring.
And while we're watching Brett S, we've got a bit of the Prodigy going, so enjoy a little bit of this music. And while we have a quick little break, while we're on board here with Brett S.
Damage laying on the track down there. We didn't see that earlier. Could have been from the Crystal Razor disconnect, possibly.
Yeah, it could be, and obviously Mark 860 doing a great job there in position 9. He's definitely showing the type of pace that he could have had if he didn't have those unlucky problems with being disconnected in race 1 and also last round at Silverstone. But we were lucky enough to have Mark 860 in the booth after he got disconnected, and he did give us some good insights into the cars as well, and what it's like out on circuit in those previous rounds.
He's a very competitive and very pacey driver for Gravel Trap Legends. He's been up on the podium a few times now. But the interesting thing, Travis Moan had a pit stop to during that break. He was one of the few cars left running on wet tyres. And it was also showing that he is back in the pits.
Oh, that's no good at all.
It may have been the misfortunes of cold, slick tyres or the misfortunes of selecting wets for a new set of tyres. He's on the move again now, so hopefully he has that corrected.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the coffin there, mate, and it's probably the nail on the coffin for his race as well. He's probably came in for that pit stop, and unfortunately they took the tyre blankets off and didn't realise that they were still the wet tyres underneath there, and he's probably got them put on. So yeah, wouldn't be a happy chap at all behind the wheel there at the moment. But yeah, we can only hope.
Easy mistake to make though, Neil. I think we've all made that mistake in our careers of driving.
Yeah, definitely, especially sometimes when you're trying to get in there into the pit lane and maybe do a few other little adjustments, and it could be just a quick little you've done an adjustment and went to close the menu, and as you've done it, it's unfortunately flicked over the slicks to the wets or something like that, which you don't see as you're navigating and trying to shut down your in-car menu at the same time. But back in this action here for this position 8, Mark 860 is holding steady, but I think Brett S would really like to see if he can make a move on Mark, and it'd be interesting to see if Brett would then be able to extend that gap and start catching Rusty in 7th position. But Rusty's roughly a second a lap faster than these guys at the moment, so I don't know if Brett's got...
Based on I'm looking at that pace at the moment, Neil, we're expecting around about 5 or 6 laps. Rusty will be sitting on the back of No Frills.
Yeah.
I did notice the one big margin that has changed for me is Magic Mass is now only 4 seconds off the back of Gunn. So I'm thinking, and John Slow still 13 seconds off the back. Gunn hasn't necessarily made, Gunn hasn't made an error. I think Magic Mass has ramped it up just a bit.
Yeah, I don't know why I've been thinking of other things, but I don't know if you've noticed that Cuckoo, the man that pitted earlier, he's out of the leaderboard. So I'd say that he's one of the drivers sitting in pit lane out of this race. Oh, we've got Cuckoo, unfortunately, in the commentator booth. So what happened there, my friend?
Just got a little bit wide on the last turn. It must have got into a wee bit of water and just looped it. Just shot around on me. So yeah, I was a bit distracted, just butting around with the old ICM as usual.
Yeah, so we're just talking about that sort of thing, and it looks like Travis Moan is another driver now finding himself in pit lane, and that's the end of him. But we'll mention how easy it can be when you get involved with the in-car menu, and accidents and little errors can crop up as you're trying to navigate that. So that's unfortunate, Cuckoo, because you were a very brave man, the first man to get on slicks in that wet conditions. Let us know, how was that out there for that first out lap? It looked like it was a bit hairy.
Yeah, it was a lap too early. I just didn't quite appreciate how slippery it was still going to be on that first outlet. If I'd just kept it on the track, I would have probably stayed ahead of Gunn and then been in a reasonably good position back where I was, but with fresh tyres and hot tyres. But yeah, lap too early, I think, and just had a little off.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate, but yeah, we did actually see all those drivers that did hold out that little bit longer. You're just passing them easily while they were stationary in pit lane. So you would have had a smile on your face at that time, knowing that you've made a pretty good decision there. But as you said, maybe one lap too early. But I think the reason why maybe is it because the time's too tyre wear with these wet tyres. They were burning up fairly quickly once that dry line did start to show its face.
No, just they're not actually wearing at the moment, but the wets, but they just started to get out and hot in the rear, and that was my cue to. As soon as I could see that dry line and the bearing, I thought I'll go in then. But in the practice that I did, it was was pretty good, but I might have had slightly different track conditions. Might have been a bit hotter, so yeah, I think I just went a lap too early. The next lap would have been just perfect, and if I'd just driven a bit better.
Yeah, well, you'll have your time again, Cuckoo, for sure. But yeah, you did qualify in 3rd position, so you definitely had pace out there and rotten luck. But it happens to the best of them, as it also happened to Christopher early on. He had a neck drop out, so a bit of water in the electronics was no good for him. And he was leading the P1 class as well coming into this round. So yeah, it's going to be a tough competition as some of these drivers are missing a few rounds and things. So anything can happen. And yeah, it's just a shame that some of the heavy hitters are getting some DNFs tonight.
Yeah, well, it just keeps interesting. It's can happen to anyone at any point.
As we're right on board Brett S now, and he's sort of losing touch of Mark 860. And what happened to Rusty? So he was up in front earlier, Tim, while we're talking to Cuckoo. Rusty's dropped down the order, so his chase to No Frills has come to an end.
Yes, I think they had a little bit of a moment navigating some back markers with a bit of moisture, and I think that's looking at on the map. He's found himself on the wrong side of the track, but still outstanding pace of 121, so it won't be long before he's back up in the mix here.
Yeah, it's just going to cost him though. These little mistakes, he can be fast, but these mistakes can really upset the rhythm. Here's a little battle with Bales. Bales has got those arrows pointing in the right direction, as we like to say, but Kiz down the inside. Will he make it move? No, he's backed out. Wise, because this can be a tough corner up the top of the hill. It's a really tight entry, but then you've got to get that power on and let that car keep rotating and line yourself up here for turn 5, Pirelli, and make it stick. And don't run too wide, as Bale's finding himself up on the green curbs. It can really unsettle these cars with the under tray underneath. Do you find that these curbs aren't too high out there, Cuckoo, so you can run over them?
When you come off the on the last turn there, if you go a bit wide over that curve, it's okay. But when you come back over it, you can understeer the car quite a bit. You can understeer a wee bit to the last little kink there. So yeah, it can be a bit tricky. I did try and mess around with sort of dampers and all that kind of stuff, trying to find a sort of setting that would allow me to just abuse the curbs a bit, but couldn't really find something sensible.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, just trying different ride heights and things like that. But yeah, the track looks like they can take a little bit of curves like they did at Silverstone last week. That was a sensational race. But Magic Mass on the charge in second.
Was up to 1.5 seconds off the back of Gunn there, so it must have been a little bit of a
I had my heart
a
going
run
then.
through some back. It might have been a run through some back markers that gave the margin.
Yeah, I did see Gunnar did the last lap before the last one, so 123s compared to Magic's 121, so a couple of seconds there. He's back on pace now though.
Negotiating back markers, I think, is where the guys are at the moment.
Yeah, and this circuit out of all of them would be one of those circuits where the back markers will be an issue, because it's only a short circuit, as we know, a 4-kilometre circuit.
So if we jump on a board with Gunn now, we can see that he's just cleared a back marker, but he's got a train of 4 cars in front of him. And subject to where he lines those cars up on track as to whether he's going to be able to make a clean run through without losing any pace.
Yeah, I think that might be Rusty actually in position 9. That's actually the car that's just fallen a lap down. So it's a pretty impressive pace from these front runners when they're... we've got 8 cars now on the lead lap. So, and it won't be too long that we'll see Brett S maybe falling a lap down as well. That's going to be a hard one actually for Gunner, because both Brett and Mark are locked into a battle, and they're not going to want to try and give up any sort of position too easily. And does, because they've got their own battles going, but they're going to have to observe these blue flags and try and let Gunner through at a nice spot. And Gunners doesn't want to lose too much time, as we've seen with Magic Mass not too far away for the lead of this race. So looking at Mark 860.
We'll just jump back behind to Brett S sitting off the back of that as well.
And he's got Nicky Webster driving behind him in the Strawberry Kisses car.
Have successfully negotiated Nicky. And there's a battle coming down the start-finish line. We'll see if we can pick that up, if we can work out. Could be Kiz. No. Who's where on track?
Well, this is Dat Boy making a move, I think. Dat Boy's making a move there in turn 2, and Kiz is out wide, hanging it loose, holding on. He's got the Wild Bronco going.
Looked like Magic's just lost a few seconds there on that last lap. Something's happened there. He's just
I
behind
think
back marker now.
that could have been negotiating some of the back markers. I think the ones that held Gunner up may have been the ones that also were a little bit of trouble for Magic Mass.
Oh, as the car's looped around just in front of him, that was Bales.
Mackenzie.
So those arrows are upsetting him. He should be keeping an eye when be going the right way.
No harm done.
No harm done, but except he's lost a couple of positions, so he'll be kicking himself there in the cockpit because he was up a couple of positions. Finds himself now in 15th. We've still got 21 cars there on track. Started with 27, I believe, so we've dropped 6 cars in this race, Tim. So the attrition's been there.
Travis Moan is back on track and rotating again, so whatever issue he had has been rectified.
Well, that's weird. Didn't we see him actually in the pit garage?
He did three pit stops.
Wow.
But obviously whatever issue was going on has been rectified, enabled him to keep going.
I think he might have been having some equipment troubles with his pedals sliding away from him.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's no good. Stu finds himself in 17th position, and it looks like Pixel Boy is slowly catching, so 3 seconds behind.
And Squish Mitten's in the pits now. He'll be taking his second compulsory stop.
I don't think they're compulsory though, Tim. I think it's just maybe scheduled stops, we might call them.
Well, scheduled. We don't think that it was going to be a brave run for anyone to try and do. Travis Moan, the only one that we thought was going to be able to successfully do a one-stop strategy for this race. The fuel window and tyre life were certainly going to be challenging for anyone that pitted with an hour to left in this race.
Yeah,
you're probably going to need at least another 40 or 50 litres before you can. There's no way to do a one stop.
Yeah, so the fuel burn will catch them out, but we've got Stu going on a very close time to getting his fastest lap of the race. So let's see if he can keep it together. It was a little bit messy in sector 3, but yes, he's up there, 0.2 of a second faster than his best time. But everyone else is also getting faster as well. So he's not quite catching Left, who's up in position 15. But he's trying to see if he can...
And just wondering, Stu may have forgotten to map, but does that have DRS for these cars as well?
Yep. Not the...
The prototypes don't have the...
one of the Janita doesn't have DRS.
Okay.
Yeah, so not all the cars do have the DRS, but obviously they've got some probably other strengths. But Pixel Boy is sort of gaining on him, about half a second a lap. So a few more laps and we should see Pixel Boy maybe picking up a position on Stu. So we've got to keep an eye on this just to see what happens.
See the space there. You can see Stu in the distance.
Definitely a fun circuit to drive around here at Spielburg.
It's a lot more technical than what it looks like on paper. It looks a very simple, basic track, but the camber changes and the elevation changes on this track keep it very entertaining.
Yeah, my favourite part of the circuit. I love Sector 2 actually, up the top part of the circuit. And when you're winding down the hill, I think it's a sensational little part of the racetrack.
For everyone watching at the moment, we'll talk you around coming through turn 2 up the hill into turn 3, which is Remus. And again, that is one of the most challenging.
Ooh, there's Pixel Boy's
corners.
run.
But this shows us exactly the elevation changes coming out of that corner there, and that's what makes it so tricky. You're still climbing up the hill. There's a little dip on the exit just past the apex before it starts to climb again, and you've also got a camber change. Very, very tricky.
And could this
Coming now down through into turn 4, which is Slosh Gold.
Looks like we've lost Squishy too in the last few minutes.
Yes, down to 20 drivers. Coming through turn 5 into turn 6, which is Rock.
You guys like Brett and Smithy just making their last pit stop, so everyone's going to be running pretty good with tyres for the last half hour. They should be going to press pretty hard.
Yeah, I think Pixel Boy's tyres are gone. He seems to, they're sliding and moving around a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come in the pit lane here, but he's carrying a lot of pace through the second last corner, so he's not coming in.
See the attitude of the car from behind. Pulls right over against the pit wall.
I think he's actually letting Bales go on through, so that was for a position. Did he, or was that, no, it was not Bales, that's actually John Slow, who's putting a lap on him actually.
John's having a bit of a lonely old race there. He has got even too close to him.
He's had a
just cruise around and
10-second margin to the car in front and again back to the car behind, so comfortably sitting on a podium at this stage.
Yeah, he's doing a good job definitely. As his gunner out in front into the 1 minute 20s now. And that's probably late in his tyre run too, so things are looking good.
a few puddles on the apexes, just the other one picking up a bit of water.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Kuka. There's a couple of ones on the outside of some of these corners. There's no frills comes into pit lane as well, out of position 6. So Rusty will pick up a position.
Yeah, we're just going to see if John's been able to save some fuel. If we can have a shorter pit stop, then Magic and Gunner ahead. If we can get up behind them in the last stint, Honda's definitely got the pace.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So he's one of the drivers in the Honda, so I think he can extend a little bit more maybe in the fuel with the little Honda, but he's still in the low 22s. Much in similar place to the Bloody Nine, who's really probably his only competition he's got that may be able to steal the final spot of the podium.
We all know John's got the consistency in him. It was a couple of seasons ago, he had an absolute shocker, but we always know John is going to drive this down to the wire. He won't be giving his position up easily.
Yeah, he came under a little bit of fire. I think it was at Silverstone last week. He got a little bit frustrated with a bit of a back marker and had a little bit of red mist and sort of put an end to his race in a way, but obviously coming back a lot stronger.
Speak of the devil, he's just heading off.
So
So
John,
he's now dropping back into the clutches of Blue 9, but maybe still 10 seconds margin. He just had a wee spin.
yeah. So again, they've been driving now for on the hour mark, so a little bit of mental fatigue starts to set in, and all the little niggles that all the drivers seem to get as well. Little sore legs, sore ankles, sore backs, or sore neck starts to accelerate and start to really get you under the pump there, with those pressures start to exaggerate a little bit more, I should say.
Bloody Nine's just taking his final pit stop.
And you'll see where that brings him out in the run, somewhere around Esky Man. Rusty Caliper will slide past on his way out of pit stop now. Where's Rusty?
So he's coming down
He's
now.
got a margin in front of Rusty, but on cold tyres, Rusty may get a little bit of margin back on him.
So who's that just in front of the bloody 9, is it? So, oh, he's run deep.
Outbrakes himself. So Rusty Caliper now coming up for position.
Yeah, so he's actually a lap down on Gunner at the moment. So that means the bloody 9 in position 5 is going to be the next car that's going to be a lap down. So I wouldn't have expected so many cars being a lap down. I know that the Gun and Magic Mass are going to have to pit again.
So we've got the top 4 drivers will still have to make their last pit stop.
I think I'll be expecting Gunner to come in pretty soon.
Oh, and we've just heard from Squish Mittens about the cardboard box of the of all the strawberry kisses has failed him. That normally holds his pedals, so he's probably been braking that hard that he's squished up his box that keeps his pedals at bay. So that's the end of Squish Mittens and Nicky Webster.
Time for Nicky to get down off her soapbox, mate. Been 30 odd years, man. Step down. But Gunn doing a great job at the moment. Still a 3.5 second margin over the Magic Mass. John Slow, after his slight altercation, sitting 20 seconds back. Good margin at the moment. Being the only 3 cars left on track at the lead pack that had yet to make their pit stop. Esky Man having a 12 second margin over the bloody 9. Rusty the Caliper now looking at the back of the bloody 9 and wondering what he's got to do to try and close that margin. Mark 860 sitting 10 seconds off the back of this pack, but a little bit off the pace at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't count Mark out though, because he's been a driver that's been consistently running in these mid-22s compared to someone like Rusty, and we've seen the bloody 9 as well make a few little mistakes here and there. They've got the pace, but you know, they need to really start to concentrate with these last 25 minutes remaining of this race. Otherwise you're going to see people like Mark 860 and Scar 666 benefit from their lack of concentration, Tim. So yeah, it's still not over for these guys, that's for sure.
And that is the battle for the endurance racing. It is keeping your head leveled, maintaining the pace on the car. You don't have to be the fastest car on the track, you just have to be the most consistent.
As he makes his move, Rusty, up into 5th position over the bloody 9, and there's another car on the outside there of turn 3.
Didn't pick who ran wide through there. I can't see one of their back markers.
Track should start to be rubbing up a wee bit now. It was pretty green after that rain. It was very slippery.
Yeah, that's
number of the cars now. Even Travis Moan at the back of this pack in a 121.
So Squish Mittens just let us know the car that ran wide up at the top of the hill was probably Max Power in the AC/DC Razor's Edge car. Currently in 19th position. as he's benefiting from Travis Moan. Couple of pit stop errors, trying to get the right tyres on that car. But just have a look to see now how far Bales has gone down into 16th. I think Bales was one of those drivers running in the top 10 earlier in the race as well. So, a couple of little
Bales
mistakes.
now pulled right up on the back of Pixel Boy.
Yeah, and Pixel's another driver that we were on board one time before as he was chasing down Stu. He was bringing that gap within 3 seconds, and then we're on board when he had a spin. So, and you can just see he hasn't been able to make inroads on Stu, but this is going to be a good little job for Bales to get in front of Pixel Boy and run down Stu if he can.
Smithy and Lefty just sitting off the back of that pack as well. I think Left is actually maybe a lap down looking at that timing schedule.
Out very wide. He won't get the power on being on top of that sausage curb. Definitely finds it hard.
One way around, going around the outside of turn 3.
Gunner's been able to maintain this margin.
Oh,
no.
That was close.
Pixel Boy having a big spin.
Gunner in the pit.
And that is a disappointing moment for Pixel. Bales now eyeing off the back of Stu, but 20 odd seconds down the road. That is going to be a big ask with 22 minutes to go.
Yes, as Cuckoo mentioned, Gunner in pit lane.
Here having another solid drive here, sitting in 14th position on track. He's got some clear air forwards and backwards. For an S, 10 seconds off the back of No Frills. And we'll jump aboard for Gunn now. As coming out after his pit stop. It looks like he's pulling up on the back of Bales McKenzie.
Yeah, Bales just runs a bit wide to let Gunner through, which is a good drive, but I thought for a minute there he actually spun being out wide in the wet part of the circuit, but he's kept it on the black stuff, as there's a bit of a train of cars following up on the top of the hill here at the Red Bull Ring.
And it's going to be a fairly exciting last 20 minutes of this race as we wind down the Masters of Enduro for Gravel Truck Legends Round 4. And this is at the Red Bull Ring or the Austrian Grand Prix track or Spielburg circuit, either way you prefer to refer to this track. The current layout has been consistent since 2011 and it is one of the most exciting tracks for Formula One. It also holds the MotoGP, the DTM and multiple other events held at this circuit. Is one of the world-renowned circuits in this section of the world.
And I believe Automobilista 2 has a historic version of this circuit as well. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We did a round with the Power and Glory with the Corvette and the RSR 74 Porsche. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. I don't think I've actually driven the historic version of the circuit, but obviously it'd be something that would be a good thing to have a good go of, especially in some of the historical Formula 1 cars on offer.
It is considerably longer, so I think the track extends from turn 1 out further around and comes back on around about turn 3. The original track founded in 1969 was referred to as the Osterruck Ring or the Austrian circuit.
Yeah, right. So what's our bets on, guys? We've got obviously Gun 180 pitting early. Will Magic Mass, with his times that he's doing, still in the mid 121s, be able to stay out and do the overcut? and come back at Gunn with fresher tyres late in this race.
Yeah, well, there was about 3.8 or second margin when Gunner pitted, so we'll see if he's been able to close that up when he comes out of the pits.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to keep an eye on their lap time. So it's the white column after their name up on the top left there as the leaderboard. You can see Magic Mass, the previous lap he did at 121.5 compared to Gunner's 121.2. So Gunner is obviously a little bit faster now on his out lap, after he's done his out lap, I should say.
Magic Mass remains out this lap, so he's going for another one.
Yeah, and he just needs to keep an eye though. If he's not doing anything better, is he's just a whisker slower than Gunner for his previous time. So he's matching Gunner at this stage. So if Gunner's time starts slowing down in any way, Magic Mass will be in a good position at this stage.
And it's how much fuel Magic Mass has left in the tank of that car. He has been running around now for approximately 40 odd minutes.
And there's a few drivers out on that grid that do know how to run out of fuel as well. So hopefully none of these drivers are going to have that problem.
John's picked up the pace now. He must be getting ready to pit soon.
Yeah, as we just look at him now in second position. Geez, that was a fast lap, wasn't it? A 121.612.
He's got the eyes on the prize, running with low fuel. And far from the average racer, John is one of the speediest guys out on track. Always likes to be competitive. And we've seen some fantastic battles with John and the other drivers over the last few seasons. And Esky Man at the moment is managing to maintain the margin over Rusty Caliper. The Bloody Nine's got himself a bit of a space now in front of Mark with a 20-second gap over Mark 860. But Scar is sitting right off the back of Mark.
I was just going to say, one of the races that I think stood out for me with John Slow was in the GT4s. I think it was. He was in the Porsche KFC, finger licking good. And I think he took victory at one of those circuits there with ourselves commentating how good a drive that was, Tim, a couple of seasons ago.
Outstanding. I think it was Road America or Cotter, Circuit of the Americas. It was an outstanding drive. They ran half of the circuit too wide.
Yeah, it was sensational. And Scar 666 has got the Wild Stallions livery, and that's obviously from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And he's got the Sennheiser sponsorship there down the side as well for his headset.
Actually, let's just jump on board. Doesn't sound as good on board. You can hear the scream of the turbo.
Yeah, Judd Powered. And he's just chasing down Mark 860 here. We can see in front of him.
Reminds me very much of the early 2000s with the Adelaide Grand Prix. Formula One cars had that scream from the massive turbocharged V10s.
I'm not too sure if Scar's made a little mistake there. That was 3 seconds, or was that an outlap or something from being the pits? It was wouldn't be an outlap, but he was 3 seconds off his best time as he's now pulling upside alongside Mark, coming up to the hill here, up into the hairpin. And looks like he's going to get this job done. Tim, yes, around the outside. Oh, but he's over-rotated on exit, and he's going to be lucky to hold on to this.
He's got the pace.
Yeah.
Got the line here to be on the inside.
Yeah, he'll be able to keep Mark out on the outside right through this part of the circuit and, yeah, clear him nicely.
It looks like that car is not happy at the moment for him on the track. The rear of that car looking very loose.
Just looking at Magic's onboard, his fuel's working right and it seems to be coming down. He's probably only got a couple of laps of fuel left.
Yeah, well, I think Gun 180 is actually getting caught up with a little bit of lap traffic because he's in the 23s compared to Magic's 21. So
He's just passed a few back markers. So free air in front of him now for a little bit of track, so he should be able to regain a 121.6 that last lap.
yeah, so you can just see there is a couple of dots behind him on the map there that he would have had to get through that lap traffic. So that's probably the reason why. But we're getting right down to the business end of this race now, Tim, with 13 minutes remaining. And Magic Mass is going to have to make his decision to get into this pit lane fairly shortly. And he could have a late charge, but we know how the type of driver Gunner can do. He's very defensive. He can defend his position fairly well. So I think John's...
I think Magic will probably just do a splash and dash of fuel and not take tyres.
Yeah, big call. But Gunner's pit stop was fairly quick as well. But yeah, I guess Gunner did put on those fresh tyres. So will he be a sitting duck though, Cuckoo? That's the thing. Not putting on a new set of boots.
His pace at the moment doesn't suggest he's got any issues with tyres. I did notice that the tyre wear didn't seem to be as severe. Maybe because the track was green.
Yeah, right.
Oh, he's just about with that.
So the two boys are really pushing it hard, both Magic Mass and Gun 180. That's where the race is. John Slow's sitting right in the middle, looking for that final podium spot once these drivers get into pit lane. So we are still waiting for Magic Mass and John Slow to take their final pit stop. As Cuckoo said, there's a possibility here Magic Mass might just... Here we go. So will he just come in?
The pits.
Oh, he's shortcutting the entry as well, Magic. And we know that he's a dirt rally king. And he's making sure that his reputation being on the dirt...
Let's jump on with John Slow to see where John is in retrospect to Magic Mass leaving pit lane, because it looks like Magic is on the move again, so it is a splash and dash.
No, he has to stop. He's just stopping now.
He's just stopping now. Okay.
So here comes John.
And the other red dot behind John coming around through is Gun. So John Slow passes through. Magic Mass on the move now. And he will come out on track in front of Gun. Gun 180 still coming up.
I think he's taken more fuel than he needed.
Yeah, he might have taken that, but I don't think he got tyres put on, as you're sort of alluding to, Cuckoo. So that's a good call by Cuckoo, who's unfortunately didn't get to the end of this race. So he's been good enough to come into the commentary booth and give us some driver insights. And he picked up early. Magic Mass might just come in for this pit stop for fuel only and not the tyres. But Gun 180, who we're looking at the moment, has got those fresher tyres on. So even though there's probably 5 laps longer since he's pitted, Magic Mass is on the older tyres still, we believe. So race is still on with 10 minutes to go, lads, and with a margin of 6 seconds, this is going to be interesting to see.
The interesting thing here is, can John Slow go without a pit stop?
No, he's in just to speak of the devil. Right in the pit now. This will be a splash and dash too, I'd say.
So let's ride aboard with Magic Mass. He slides past John. Gun coming through behind. See the 2 red dots there.
Very short stop.
And John on the move again. Successfully setting himself up into 3rd position comfortably.
So So at this stage too, it looks like that there is only, the 6 cars still on the lead lap as well. So
Running aboard with Mark, 860 at the moment. He's sitting off of the back of Dat Boy with Kiz just behind him. And Brett S also in this mix. So we've got a great little battle going on at the moment to see who's going to fight it out for a top 10 position.
I tell you what, these Mark's been in the battle all race long. He's really enjoyed his return back to the track for round 4 here at the A1 ring. We're giving it all the different names that it's been known throughout the years. The Red Bull ring, the Spielburg track, the Austrian track. And what can Mark end up with here for round 4? Will he get that boy? Or will he just try and keep Kiz at bay?
Yeah, Gunner probably took on a little bit more fuel than he needed. Just a few extra litres over Magic. I think Magic's probably got more than he needed.
So the Gun's still got the pace at the moment, but I don't think he's got a margin that he's going to be able to claw back in the next 7 minutes. But we'll certainly keep a close eye on the margin between Magic Mass and Gun at the moment. Still 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think the time, he's got time, Gun, I was going to say, but he just needs to make sure that he can keep that half a second or so a lap faster than Magic each time around. And lap traffic is obviously going to be the key here. We saw at round 1 at Monza, the Gun 180 got caught out with the lap traffic, so maybe this could be a return serve and Magic Mass this time get held up a little bit with the lap traffic and see Gun 80 come back through.
Magic Mass dropped a little bit of time that last lap. There's a 1.5 seconds between the last time and the last lap. As we see Stu in the pits now for a splash and dash.
So this is going to get very interesting indeed, guys. So the last 6.5 minutes, stick with us here in Gravel Trap Legends for the round 4 of the Masters of Endurance. You've got Tim Lawson and Neil Haynes in the commentary booth, and we've got Cuckoo joining us, who's been a good wealth of knowledge in the later half of this race.
As we take a quick look at Lefty in the Midnight Oil livery, currently sitting in 14th position.
It's a good battle between Dat Boy and Mark at the moment too.
Yeah, and that's what's obviously trying to happen to see if Mark can get this position 10, but he's also trying to hold off Kiz, who's just behind.
Yeah. Oh, they followed each other through.
We haven't seen any penalties come up yet, so everyone's probably done pretty well with the track limits.
Yeah, so that was a talking point earlier on when the track was starting to dry out. 5 track limit penalties, and it's a mandatory drive-through. Anyone who's sitting on 4 at the moment would be feeling exceptionally nervous.
There's not much between the lead of this race either. It's 1.3 seconds the margin, if our timing's correct, between Magic Mass and Gunner. So with 5 minutes remaining, it's anyone's race, and it looks like Gunner has just got that little bit of extra pace at the moment, so we may just want to have a little look to see how that's going. As this battle here is really intensifying as well, with only 1 second of margin.
Yeah, I think he's going to catch him, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to pass him. It's going to be difficult to try and find a passing avenue.
So this is the margin for first place after we had 85 minutes of racing coming down to less than half a second between Magic Mass and Gun 180.
Yeah, it's sensational racing here, and I would think that Gunner may get a possibility to get a move done through turns 5 and 6. We have seen Magic Mass struggle through the two left-handers as after they've come down the hill.
Coming up. There's a lot of traffic coming up.
And that, to me, looks like the battle that we have going on before between Brett, Kiz and Mark. They won't want to be giving much space to these guys because they're in their own race at the moment. We'll continue on the back of Gun 180 as we go around with 3.5 minutes to go for the Gravel Trap Legends Master of Endurance Round 4 at Spielburg Circuit, the Austrian Grand Prix Red Bull track.
This is a part of the circuit where Magic has been struggling a little bit. He's keeping it together here at this stage, but the next lap they're definitely going to get involved with this lap traffic, and we're probably going to see another 2 more laps of this race as well. So there'll be 2 more laps remaining after this one, so there's plenty of time for Gun 180 to make this move, so he's just got to bide his time, and as soon as he sees Magic Mass make a little bit of a slip up, you'll see Gun right down the inside or outside depending what happens to Magic. But look, Gunner's pushing hard over the sausage curbs of turn 1.
This is going to be nervous into the hairpin. All the traffic.
Yeah, Cuckoo, what are these cars like under the back slipstream? Is there any aero drag or washout from the physics in these cars?
Yeah, you lose a little bit of front end. The drag isn't, the power isn't terribly strong unless you're pretty close. You lose a bit of front end.
And from my little experience in these cars, they tend to understeer a little bit at the best of times. Losing a little bit of grip is just going to make that little bit more interesting. Big shout out to the drivers there, everyone giving each other space, allowing everyone to battle it out. Fantastic.
Yeah, both Brett S and Kiz really did a good job, and they didn't lose out too much time from their own battles.
I think 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's actually they're gonna squeeze out that extra lap here as well with the pace that they've got. So, oh, big dive down the inside.
Dear. That was ambitious.
That's going to probably appear in the stewards' room later in the week, but looks
We
like...
just take a look and we got left hand down. It looks like the steering is reasonably straight still.
He goes there pretty quickly, so there'll be no real issues there, but he's definitely taking a stab there and didn't come off. That'll probably be it for him.
It doesn't look like any serious damage to the car, but he has dropped his pace considerably.
Yeah, I think he's just regathering his own thoughts there, Gunner, and may just be thinking, well, that was his opportunity, he's given it all, and maybe respect to the driver of Magic Mass, he's probably just backed out of that and making sure he's coming home in second position.
Magic Mass also looks like he's managed to come through that without any serious damage. And they should come around to bring us onto our final lap.
Maybe Gunner's backing off just to try and think, well, if Magic Mass just wants to back off, they will actually finish this race on this lap, but it looks like Magic's going to keep into it and squeeze 1 more lap out of this race, which he's going to do. And Gunner's actually let, I think it is Kiz, I think it might be through. So obviously there might be some issues.
Short shifting quite a lot. I wonder if he's just got a little bit of frontal damage and his engine might be getting a little bit hot with it.
Could be as well, yeah. As Rusty's into the pits late for a splash and dash. He didn't get his fuel numbers correct. So he's going to drop down the order. It looks like No Frills might be able to pick up a position. Yes, he does. And And it's a welcome return to Rangy Rover up into the top 10 as well in position 9 after missing last week's round.
And that boy has managed to get a bit of a margin over Mark 860. And Kiz has dropped off the back as well by the looks of that.
Gunner is limping home. He is barely moving. I think he's got engine issues.
And John Slow now on a march. He's 15 seconds off the back of this now. I think Gunn should be able to make it home from there without any serious drama.
Well, you have to say, Magic Mass has taken this race, so congratulations to Magic Mass. He will continue in the lead of this championship. But this man here is almost clutching it to the end. So is it because he's low on fuel, or is it because his engine is almost going to go kaput? But at this rate,
I think his engine.
He just claimed second position. So he gave it all, gave us all the entertainment right to the end. And John Slow into third position. Well done to him in the Honda. So a good drive from John Slow and a good comeback drive after the woes of Silverstone. So well done to John. And Esky Man. We didn't see much of Esky Man through the race, Tim, but coming home in fourth position. What a result that is for Esky. Sensational job.
Very clean run. He was having a bit of a battle early on with the Bloody Nine Scar.
There's the Bloody Nine coming on through, which is the last car that will be on the lead lap. The Bloody Nine in fifth position. So that pace was electrifying. It was so quick to put only 5 cars on the lead lap and the rest of the field down on the leaders. Or is Scar still a driver that's on the lead lap? Watching, waiting for
No,
him.
it looks like everyone is pulled up.
Yeah, so Scar was a lap down at the end. And we've got a car park leading up to turn 2.
I suspect that Gunner's blown his engine there just at the end.
Yep, looking at that. So we can take a quick run through the order. We've got Magic Mass on the lead of this event with Gunn 180 in second, John Slow coming on third, Esky Man in fourth, the Bloody Nine over Scar 666, No Frills in seventh, and Mark 860 in eighth position, the Rusty Calipers in ninth, Dat Boy in 10, Rangy Rover, I should say.
Yeah,
if my mouse will work.
11th. I'll keep going.
And
Kiz in 12th. Brett S will be in 13th position and left in 14th. Bales in 15th. Stu in 16th, sorry. Smithy in 17th. 18th was Pixel Boy. 19th was Travis Moan. 20th, Max Power. And Cuckoo, as we can see, retired. And also Truey 84. We didn't see much of Truey either, so he retired. They're back quite a few laps down. So what a race that was, Tim. I didn't think Magic Mass was going to end up taking that victory. I thought Gunner may have got the better of him. And I also had thoughts that Cuckoo, unfortunately, if he didn't have that problems, we might have seen Cuckoo feature as well, but that wasn't to be, unfortunately.
No, we'll pick it up and try and do better next week. Anyway, I'll get back to the boys, and thanks for having me on board. And
no worries. Thanks for jumping in with us.
Hopefully, I don't make a regular occurrence.
No, we want to see you on track like everyone else, and that'll about almost wrap it up. We have got 2 more races remaining. We've got the 1.5 hours of Nürburgring next week, so we look forward to seeing you there for that race. And to finalise the series, we've got a 2-hour race. That's the Spa-Francorchamps. So that on the 16th of September is a race you want to note down on your diary, and you don't want to miss the action from Spa for the final round. But we'll look forward to having you again next week at Nürburgring. So until then, it's cheerio from myself, Neil Haynes, and Tim.
Good. Well, thank you everyone for watching, guys. This will be uploaded onto the normal YouTube channel if you want to catch the replay. jump onto TVJP Sim Racing on YouTube and check it out. Until next time, good night.